Hello class. So I've had a number of you ask questions about what exactly you're doing with prompting prompts. So this is one of the things that you're going to be doing within your writer's notebook. But if we look down below, it actually asks you to submit your work. So in addition to creating it in your writer's notebook or using the template, please know that you're also going to submit those. The whole purpose of this activity is that you are trying to create an opportunity for writing to avoid writer's block, which is what you've been reading about in Unit 1, Activity 2. So what are you supposed to do? Here it gives you a number of bulleted points that it wants you to create something as a starting point in order to write. So here we have a block that gives us an example as to what it's supposed to look like. So for images, this person has found a picture and started a prompt that is connected to that picture. The idea is that if you're ever stuck for ideas in order to write a story or a poem or any of the components of this course, that you can actually use this template in which to think about ideas or start writing. So here we have just a randomly generated image, and we have a prompt below it that addresses the image but may lead into a story or a poem idea. So for each of these bulleted points, what you need to do is find an example and then start a prompt writing about what that example makes you think of. You're not writing a whole story, you're just trying to get an idea. So in choosing a random picture, the prompt is then, the toddler's tiny hands were still sticky from the strawberry residue and sticks of yellow straw were stuck to the bottom of her dirty shoes. Her mother had forgotten her hat at home and the sun painted streaks of gold through the chopped strands of her hair. If you were stuck for an idea, this might be a beginning point in which to create a story, a poem, something else where you continue that idea. Maybe even in further extending that, if you were to use this as a writing exercise, that you would come up with another idea that you can actually use as the key part of a story or assignment. So here's the key idea, is that what we're doing is creating a prompt. A prompt is designed to get the ideas started, right? Many of your teachers may use this when they have something that they want you to respond to. It's called a prompt. Prompt for ideas, a prompt for understanding, or a prompt for writing. So what I've done here is that when we go down below, that this is simply so that you're not spending an eternity doing it. If you want for ideas to kind of flow quickly, then you can actually use this with the exercise to try and see what pops into your head and to record it. Some of you may find this helpful. Some of you, I know I have students who look at a clock and go, I don't want to use that because it puts too much pressure and you're thinking about the time rather than the activity. So don't necessarily worry about using the timer to create these prompts if it's a barrier rather than a help. So your task is to create a prompt for each of these. So what I've done is I've actually created a template and I've opened it here. So I've taken each of those bulleted points and written them here. What you're going to have to do is you're going to need to, it's a Google document, so what you're going to need to do is actually file, make a copy, or you can create one of your own. I found that many students don't have Word documents and many of the links open up into a Word document. So I've created a Google Doc in the hopes that you can either make a copy of your own or copy the template for yourself. So here's what you're going to do, is that I've given you a couple of examples. You can actually delete mine if they don't work for you, if you'd like to create your own. But for each of these, you're actually going to find something as the inspiration and then write about it, just as you saw that picture of the child's hand with the strawberry and the little prompt. So For example, when it says questions, I created a question, why is that car in the ditch? And then started a prompt, just what that made me think about. And the reason I wrote that question is actually because I was inspired when I was on my way to work. There was a car in the ditch. And so using that as my inspiration, I then wrote something that may have happened, a prompt that may start and generate ideas. So for each of these, you can either Google image, Google video, you can find sounds, or you can simply write it in here, whatever pops into your head, and then you're going to write just a little bit about that scenario. When you think of a cow mooing, what pops into your head? I can think about early mornings or a dairy farm, and maybe I've got a character who is tired that they're up at 4 in the morning to go milk the cows, right? So it's about each one of these, finding an inspiration, whether you're Googling it and inserting it or just coming up with your own, that you write down an idea and then continue on into the prompt where you start just an idea or a concept. When you think of that inspiration, what does it make you picture, or what does it make you want to start thinking about? Write a little bit about in the prompt, and then what you're going to do is actually submit that. So after you're done going through that exercise, you're going to have it recorded in your writer's notebook, which is an ongoing Google Doc or a binder, or it may be Word document, it may be a number of things. What you're going to do is then take either that template or your ideas, and you're going to hand it in as an assignment. Hope that makes more sense.